And so you get into rentals or multifamily rentals. And as has been established, I've done this for a long time. I'm selling my last multifamily rentals right now. I've reached the retirement age. Um, but when I was working with investors and they would get into that, my best advice for anybody that has real estate experience or doesn't have real estate experience and they want to buy a multifamily or even a single family or a vacation rental. We had multiple vacation rentals at one point. Uh, is if, and I've said this to several people, if you fix a property as a multifamily or as a single family and you get the wrong renter, you will reach retirement age in 5 months or 3 months.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Wade Taatjes, has been active as an investor, agent, and wholesaler since the mid-90s. He's been involved in over 1,000 real estate transactions. He's done hundreds of flips and helps others to avoid the mistakes and challenges he's had to overcome in that time. You can find him at safeharborhomesus.com. Wade, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you.
Now, when we talk specifically about staying power in real estate, whether it's 10 years, 15 years, or you've been active since the 90s, the thing that I've seen most from this show and then from talking with people outside is you have to be able to pivot, right? You can't just be so locked into one strategy that's it. So where was your entry point into the real estate space? Walk me through how you got started in real estate.
Yeah. So after college, went to college for 4 years. When I was in college, I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. My older brother and younger brother had the chemistry gene or something, and they were there. Probably little or no deviation. But me, I didn't know what I was going to do. In fact, so much so that after 4 years of college, I said to myself, I'm not ready to be an adult yet. So I went in for a fifth year, which sort of afforded me the ability to have a major or double minor in both sociology and business. So, but then my uncle, who was a builder, said one day, will you work for us? And I thought that was a good opportunity. Didn't really know anything about housing or anything at all. And a few months after that, me and a couple of roommates, I had one roommate that was sort of in construction, not really in construction. And then my other friend, who ended up being a writer, uh, but I looked for a house. We bought a house. We bought a duplex, and sort of my passion for real estate started there. And that was in the early '90s, so that was quite a while ago.
Where was your uncle developing homes? Which state?
Yeah, so Grand Rapids, Michigan. So
At that point in time, in the development space, was there a ton of new construction happening? I think right now we're seeing a lot of new construction happening, but your uncle being a developer, was there a lot of expansion? If we just look at Michigan, for instance, was there a lot of subdivisions and single family homes being put up in Michigan?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, so Grand Rapids is still a pretty interesting market, but this again goes back quite a bit of time, and he had just some pockets of land which they developed into subdivisions. But as I started, they hired me for marketing, and I never really got it. Okay, I didn't. So I didn't last real long on that job. But my interest in real estate got started sort of unexpectedly like that. And when we bought the first property, we bought a 4 unit. Couple years after that, and then uh, from there, just started to just kind of figure out my own way. And uh, I think it's really important to mention I became licensed. I'm no longer licensed real estate agent as of about a year ago, but I think really important when I first got in and was licensed in 1998. You know this too, being a real estate agent. There are a lot of agents that are all things to all people. They will get the cold call and say, "Yeah, I can list your $100 doghouse that you have for sale." And then they get a call 5 minutes later, and yeah, I can list your $100 million property in Malibu. And I just thought that was, no, you're not. You can't be the best at doing both. So with the little bit of real estate investment property history that I had, I thought to myself, I'm going to be better than anyone else at being the first call to the new listings, um, being the first showing, being the first offer, being the fastest, and just saying, this is what I'm good at. I'm not going to take your $100 million listing in Malibu because I can't service you best doing that. And I grew naturally and normally because I had a passion, very significant for passion for being better than anyone else, and I felt like I was.
Now, when we talk specifically about, working with investors, one of the things that I know from going through real estate school, being a newer agent, is it almost seems like there's two different worlds if you're a realtor. It's, hey, you're going to work with, single family homeowners, and you might start out working with first time buyers. You know, you're going to work with investors. That's another world. And then I would also say, people who are doing commercial, that seems like an entirely other world to be playing it. Did you feel any of that as well, or did you feel like I can help people in both spaces?
I felt, good or bad, I felt like I didn't want to be all things to all people, and so like I said, I wanted to be. I felt better than anyone else. I wanted to know more about my space than anyone else did, and there were investors that came to me due to that fact. But to answer your question, um, you're right. And now, in the last handful of years, there have been more sort of compartments of real estate where you're working as a buyer's agent or you're working as part of a team and you fulfill a specific role. So I think you're right about that. But my my as I mentioned earlier, my experience as a real estate agent is now over. I've gone a different direction. So I guess I think I answered your question.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Now, I do want to pivot a bit here, Wade, and ask you about the wholesale space, because I feel like I cut my teeth as a wholesaler. Before being a realtor, that was the world that I was, really getting trained in and had all my experience in, was working with distressed sellers, people facing foreclosure or, divorce or, death in the family or, financial distress, or the property is distressed. I could keep going, elderly people and so forth. But this was also right at the time where I feel like wholesale was at the absolute peak. Like if you were just scrolling through, your social media feed or Facebook, and you were someone not involved in real estate, you might see buy cash for keys, or get started in real estate with no little or no money down. And so I was in, I feel like, at the peak mayhem of what it is to be a wholesaler. When did you get into this space? And then also too, was there this knowledge of what a wholesaler was at the time?
Well, again, so the space between I bought my first house and in 1998 when I was licensed, I sort of um, was in that space where I was looking for opportunities and uh, finding opportunities similar to what you had mentioned. And then it made sense that after a certain point, maybe seems like maybe you're the same, where it became beneficial for me to get my real estate license. But yeah, but I would say my own opinion, there are probably 1,000, 10,000 opinions. In my own opinion, when I first got going in the 90s, that there wasn't really this wholesaler thing. I mean, or the word flip. I don't know when that actually became popularized, but I think it was after I started for sure. So I think it gains traction. And again, I'm giving my opinion and my experience. From the 90s, it started to gain traction, and then you get into the 2000s, and all that stuff that I was doing then really was, in the spotlight. So I feel like I kind of grew with that, and you probably started later than I did. So where you're saying where you were at that time was probably right when it was glamorized, I guess, which is
That's right.
unfortunately a word for that.
Yeah, I got in 2023, and so I would even say that this was maybe even beyond the peak of wholesale, to
Agreed.
where there were other strategies that made more sense for folks than wholesale specifically. I do want to ask you about building a business as an excuse me, as an agent, being a fellow agent myself, and then for other folks who are listening. One of the things that I've seen working with other realtors, and then also working with investors as well, is that sometimes realtors will scale to a certain point, and they may have an incredible business, but they may also deal with some fair level of burnout. Either it's because, hey, I'm just tired of dealing with clients, or it's that, hey, I'd like to do something which is a little bit more hands off, and I'm maybe difficult, the transactional nature. When you were ramping up your business as an agent working with investors, did you ever deal with any of that, or were you just so jazzed up and passionate about the business that was never thought being burnt out?
I think part of it was just, and I think in several areas of life, luck or good fortune or right place, right time is is part of the formula for success. And I think when I started, I had just enough experience doing it on my own. So when I became a real estate agent, started to get to know Grand Rapids is much bigger than it was in the late 90s. But when I first got started, I kind of got known in the small circle at that point for being good at that. So I had a few people come and reach out to me. I was working with one investor specifically that had just sold a auto glass business, windshield business. He sold his part of it and came into some money, and he was a hustler and got into real estate. So he was my main investor for a few years, and he would buy a lot of the houses, and I'd give him my at that point.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Little advice on how to do it, and we became good friends, and then that developed into other people, and at a certain point, I saw finding these properties. I'd done it a little bit on my own, but never really had a lot of money. So I was finding these properties for investors, and I saw the checks that they were walking with at closing, and I was like, maybe I should take more control and just start to do this on my own. And that's you have your own challenges that just compound doing the whole thing on your own. And I could talk to you till
Yeah.
Friday about.
I think, a lot of times people have to break it into a couple different buckets, right? And there's no right answer, but, you might look at, hey, what's working right now? How long is this going to work for? Or hey, is there anything that's potentially, could be on the horizon, which could change how things are going to look, right? You don't always know, but sometimes you have an idea. Um, and then also as well, what's my appetite for continuing to do this? Sometimes people say, you know what, I'd like to back out of this or delegate some of this. I do want to pivot here though and ask you about, going into some of these other segments, right? So from, being a wholesaler to then being an investor friendly agent to then being an investor yourself, and for folks who are thinking about making those types of pivots in their own journey, do you have any feedback for them? When's the right time to do it? And then also, what maybe should they be looking at right now if they're looking at getting started in real estate?
um I would start with if if you get into the sort of a natural thing when you start, maybe as a wholesaler, you think to yourself, wow, I want some long-term income. And so you get into rentals or multifamily rentals. And uh, as has been established, I've done this for a long time. I'm selling my last multifamily rentals right now. I've reached the retirement age. Um, but when I was working with investors and they would get into that, my best advice for anybody that has real estate experience or doesn't have real estate experience and they want to buy a multifamily or even a single family or a vacation rental. We had multiple vacation rentals at one point. Uh, is if, and I've said this to several people, if you fix a property as a multifamily or as a single family and you get the wrong renter, you will reach retirement age in 5 months or 3 months. And I will, I, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. A tenant can
Yeah.
cause $25,000 worth of damage in 10 minutes, and they can. So I've been around long enough and helped enough people to just realize, and I'm the one person that didn't take this advice because, you, and where we live now is a smaller community. And when I had rentals here, you'd run into the person that, at the grocery store would be like, oh, my friend just lost their place. They're looking for a place to live. And can you help them out? And almost invariably I did that. And it's nice to be nice, but I think that's worked out 0 out of 60 times. So You just, if you don't have
Yeah.
the backbone to say I'm running this as a business, and I've met several people that run it as a business, and they do well.
Yeah, I mean, you can run it into the ground with empathy. I think that that's a real thing that happens in real estate, not just, in one segment of real estate, but in, a variety, right? And, you could start to, one tenant could be late regularly, and then now their new normal is, hey, I'm 15 days late. And then, what happens from there? And so it does become, tricky for folks, because you got to decide, hey, am I going to professionally manage these properties? Where's the boundary for me? And that can be challenging for folks, for sure. We are coming up on time here, though, Wade. Any new projects that you're working on? And then as well, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you or your team?
You said at the beginning that this would fly by, and it certainly did. Um, there's one thing that, as we started, and I'll be brief, but I think it's really important. I went through that crash in 2006, 2007, and 2008, and it may never happen again to that level. But I want to give some advice on that, is to just, even in a market now where it's reasonably brisk, and I don't know that's true nationwide, but just be careful, because and that hit us like it seemed like overnight. Everything was different. So I just wanted to say that I went through that, and several of my friends and investors went through it, and it's still in the back of your mind. So you learn from experience, and from that I just think it's valuable to bring that up, because you, starting in 2023, you had no perspective on that, and it was bad.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Wade, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.